Hello, and welcome to the first webinar organized by Tactful Evolution Paris in partnership with FCP IT Techs. This event is dedicated to the topic of Chinese fashion brands' proposal for meaningful, sustainable international collaborations. I pass the words to Jonas from Berlin. Don't hesitate to react and ask questions in the chats. I hope you will enjoy the event.
Hello, my name is Jonas. I'm co-founder and managing director of ForSource. We are the partners of Messe Frankfurt Paris, and we provide the digital platform of Tactful Evolution. And it's my honor and pleasure to just say some opening words on this great webinar, and welcome to everyone. And I will now just share my screen and guide you quickly to a short presentation. So I hope everyone can see it.
Yes, perfect.
Perfect, very good. So first of all, welcome to the webinar that is linked and connected to the Chinese Brands Gallery that was just launched and presented by TDB, Messe Frankfurt, and CCP IT Techs. So the webinar today will be around the Chinese fashion brands proposal for meaningful, sustainable, and product-centered international collaborations. This is a very long title, but I will come to this in a second. Let me first of all quickly give you an idea of how you can experience not only the Chinese Brands Gallery, but also the Tactful Evolution digital platform with the help of ForSource. And thank you to the team in Paris for enabling us to present this shortly to you. First of all, who is ForSource? We are since 2017 in the market, and we enable faster and more sustainable sourcing without travel. So what we do is purely digital, and we enable buyers and manufacturers to get in touch and to matchmake in a digital environment. We have, since 2017, created the world's largest and fastest growing industry network. So we have more than 90,000 suppliers on the platform, more than 30,000 active members on the buyer and supplier side. We are all around the world with teams ranging from Europe to Shanghai and China. We serve 120 countries right now, and there's a lot of content and business going on ForSource. And as a platform, we support Messe Frankfurt Paris to provide digital solutions to you, to the visitors, and to the exhibitors of the trade shows. And we offer B2B matchmaking on their behalf. So how can you explore the digital platform of Tactful Evolution online? So first of all, you can either log in through the Messe Frankfurt Paris website or through ForSource directly, and you will then be guided to a separate section within the platform that is called Tactful Evolution Paris. You will there find the Chinese Brands Gallery that we are just talking about, and where also this webinar is coming from. You will see a lot of content, a lot of videos. Plus, you can explore hundreds of exhibitors from all around the world that are participating in the digital platform of Messe Frankfurt Paris. But of course, you can discover the Chinese Brand Gallery. You can explore the brands. You can go through their company profiles. You will learn about the companies. You can see videos, you have company descriptions, you see the product ranges, you have direct contact persons, and of course, because this is also about sustainability in this topic, you can also find the certification of the different companies verified by us. And last but not least, and very important for everyone, you can explore the designs, products, and the virtual showrooms, and you can directly get in touch seamlessly by sending a message or by scheduling a meeting with the participating companies. So that's in very short what we provide, and we are happy and proud to support this project. Now let's come to the speakers of this webinar, and let me give you a bit of a background information about the webinar. So first of all, everyone knows that the fashion industry goes through a fundamental transformation right now. It's the entire world and our industry is getting more and more digital. The business structures that are being created are not the same as the ones that they have been in the past. We are moving from traditional B2B approaches more to B2C, and then it suddenly also flips to a C2B approach where the consumer tells the brands what he needs. And this causes that suddenly brands need to change and adapt their old development cycles and design cycles, which were very much planning driven in the past, to a more demand driven product development approach. And this is, of course, a big challenge for everyone. And this is not even enough, because at this point of time, and we saw it coming over the last years, the demand for sustainable products, for sustainable production and sustainability along the value chain has increased tremendously. So in this context, the speakers that we have today will share with us their experience and insights on questions like how are collaborations between Chinese fashion brands and European retailers evolving, how international fashion players can strategically optimize their trade and their business relationships, and how can business partners on both sides create long-term business relationships, and how can they mitigate negative impacts and risks that are evolving also with these new business models that are emerging. So now let me quickly introduce to you the three speakers that we have today. First of all, we have Ms. Yan. She's the Vice President of China Textile Information Center and the Director of the Office for Social Responsibility of CNTAC. So she is in charge of the corporate social responsibility promotion and construction and trading promotion. And by the way, under her leadership, the first Chinese corporate social responsibility management system on an industry level has been promoted throughout the industry. I need to let you know at this point that unfortunately Ms. Yan had to cancel on a very short notice her attendance to this event, but, and this is a very big but, she made the efforts and provided a video in order to give her speech to us in this way. So she will share with us the insights on the Chinese fashion industry, the available sustainable solutions, and the overall response to climate change, which is super exciting, and we're very thankful that she recorded this video for us. Then, secondly, we have Ms. Regina Chan. Regina is a brand strategist from Paris. She has more than 15 years of experience in export business strategy, corporate marketing, communications for various companies, including Maison Objet, that she was leading for the Chinese area. So Regina brings a lot of knowledge and deep insights into business solutions for lifestyle brands, ranging from art, design, and of course, fashion. So she will share with us her insights on how to create meaningful and sustainable business matching for tomorrow's fashion. So very interesting topic. And last but not least, we will hear Fiona Demart from YDM Consultants, where she is the founder. And Fiona has an extensive experience in fashion and life and textile product management and marketing activities in Europe. So she worked at Christian Dior as well as for the French textile group DMC. And then she founded YDM Consultants. So she was leading in her role different marketing and sales activities of Chinese textile groups and made them popular by working also with leading European retailers. So she will share with us how manufacturers are going hybrid and B2C. So how are collaborations between Chinese fashion brands and European retailers evolving? So that's her topic, and we're very interested in listening to her. So that's all from my side. So thank you very much. And with this, I would like to hand over to what Ms. Yan shared with us in her video. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, and maybe good evening. I'm happy here to share with you the sustainability solution of China fashion industry. We too realize the challenge is not that a single enterprise or one part of the industry can deal with it independently. And we need to work together to explore the solutions. I'm from CNTAC, China National Textile and Apparel Council. We are an institution and representative of textile and apparel sector in China. We work on development-guided policy research, standardization, and ethics.
right.
and information exchange. Currently, when you go through the development situation of China fashion industry, you may think it is huge due to its capacity, and you may think it is modern due to its network across the world. In the past 5 years, the industry has achieved remarkable achievements in sustainability. I would like to share with you here some of them. The proportion of the secondary energy now reached 72.5%. The comprehensive energy consumption per 10,000 RMB yuan output value decreased by 25.5%. The water intake for 10,000 RMB yuan output value decreased by 11.9%. And the main pollutant emission decreased by more than 10%. When we review the above sustainable development of the industry, we can see the industry contains both challenges and solutions. I believe everybody has genes. So I would like to take the subsector jeans manufacture as an example. Jeans global supply chain has been under huge social and environmental pressure. From the chart, you can see the vast contrast between the decreasing product price and increasing environmental and labor costs. So, global consumers can buy jeans made in China in a more sustainable way with a stable price and improving quality. From this index, you can see the index shows the price almost keep the same, no big change in the past 20 years. Facing the common challenge of future development and keep in line with United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. After we identify challenges in the sustainable development of the Chinese fashion industry, taking the climate change issue as an example, in 2017, we launched the Carbon Stewardship 2020. In 2018, as a representative of the whole China fashion industry, CNTC signed the UNFCCC Fashion Industry Charter for Climate Action. In 2019, CNTC has upgraded the Carbon Stewardship to Climate Stewardship 2030 to facilitate the industry to move up towards a clear 2030 goals and also promote UNFCCC Fashion Industry Charter to the leading companies to encourage them to sign the charter. Some local leading enterprises and brands such as Tactful, Boxing and Sunrise signed the charter and started already the climate actions. Based on the baseline of 2015, Climate Stewardship 2030 sets a target for the industry, reducing 40% of carbon before 2030, which means we need to reduce 100 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalent for whole value chain. How much is that? 100 million tons of carbon reduction is equivalent to 17 million acres of forest annual carbon absorption, equivalent to 57 New York City area or 11 Shanghai City area. Based on greenhouse gas reduction goal setting, we have developed our pathway in 3 phases: volunteerial, self-motivating, and marketing and outsourcing marketing mechanism, so as to catch 40% reduction target, so as to we can build a low carbon brand of China fashion industry. We can enhance the international competitiveness of Chinese fashion industry in the global low carbon supply chain. And we can actively participate in global governance of climate action in the fashion industry and strengthen international communication. From Carbon Stewardship 2020 to Climate Stewardship 2030, we have made many progresses. We finished online carbon emission calculation platform. We organized institutions, material suppliers, manufacturers, branding, and thyself and chemical enterprises, so that we can provide a reliable and scientific SaaS platform and an industry database for life cycle analyzing, evaluation, and the design of green textile products. Climate Action 2030, Climate Stewardship 2030 has received a very positive response from the industry. And we have Shenzhen Industry Cluster to be the first industry cluster to release the carbon neutral vision. Shenzhen is also huge scale industry cluster in China, with its scale more than 100 billion RMB yuan. We also have one leading local fashion branding, Kingsburg, to be the first local brand has launched its carbon neutral vision. Industry is actively seeking industry solution to the challenges of sustainable development issues. We look forward the opportunity we can work together with you. We are open for any opinion, for any feedback. So that's all today. Thank you very much.
I hope you have enjoyed this presentation. Now I have the pleasure to pass the words to Regina.
So hello everyone, thank you Alice. It's such a pleasure to join this webinar today. I'm here to share some personal experiences in working with Chinese brands in the creative industry. In the last 10 years, I've been working with different show organizers in Asia and Paris, mainly in the creative industry like visual art, design, interior design, product design, and home decoration, now fashion. So the last 10 years, we saw some amazing transformation of Chinese brands in terms of different things. So today, quickly, I will try to give some summary and overview about this kind of transformation. The first very obvious transformation is about their strategic mindset. So before, you know, some of them may be manufacturers, and then now they are high-end brands and with value-added service and mindset. So one very simple example. In the past, maybe Chinese brands would think when they do export business, they are here to compete with other people. But now more and more, we see Chinese brands are more thinking about how to create solutions. So it's not just the boss, but the whole team have the same belief that they can provide more than just product and service. They're thinking about how to respond to now a very important trend, like Jonas mentioned before, is C2B, a demand-driven approach. So this is very important because they're thinking more than just selling, they're thinking about creating. So how is this going to change? I guess when you saw Yan Yan's presentation, you already see they're on the road of doing more sustainability. So sustainability is a one big solution that we are all trying to contribute. No one single company, no one single country can do one thing to tackle everything. So this is why now we are in a very interesting time. We see a lot of Chinese brands are trying to contribute to this area. And then after the pandemic, actually, a lot of sourcing executives are also looking for possibilities to work with Chinese brands because they want a more long-term partnership. So for Chinese brands, they are also changing their view about working with outsider. In the past, maybe they think those people are more clients, but now they think they are partners. So when you work with partners, the mindset is very different. It's about a win-win situation. It's not about just selling, as I said. So in this, under these circumstances, we can see closer relationship can be built between Chinese suppliers, brands, and foreign leaders, retailers. So again, from manufacturing to brand solution, this is a big step that we have to pay attention because, you know, the world, we all need more solutions these days. So then how we can achieve this is more about synergies. So solution is not enough. We have to have synergies. So now we see Chinese brands when they go to different markets, they think about long-term. They will co-invest with their partners locally. So for example, opening showrooms or having a more sustainable supply chain, how to make sure everything can be consistent. That's really coming along, especially in the home decoration sector. But in fashion, I can see how this is also progressing. So why collaboration is very important? Because we all know in fashion, all these innovations are mostly driven by manufacturers. So without the R&D effort, without the technology, there are a lot of things are missing. But on the other hand, retailers, sourcing executives, they know exactly what are the demands. For example, you know, when we go to some department store like Galeries Lafayette, Selfridges, you can see all their sustainable initiative. So retailers know for sustainable products, they will pay more attention. They will give them more visibilities to the consumer because this is what consumer needs. So back to the point, demand-driven approach. So this is why synergies between Chinese brands and international retailers are very important, more than ever. Now, maybe some of the European retailers are not working with Chinese brands yet, and will start to think, why should I work with Chinese brands more? So take a look in the Chinese brand galleries in Tactful today. We see all of these Chinese brands. You may not know them, but they are already doing very well, first of all, in China as a brand, not just a manufacturer. They have their own skill set, and then they have high consistency level. So during the pandemic, I think a lot of sourcing executives understand it's very important to have a reliable relationship. So the reliable relationship is not just about communications, it's about the actual capability of the partners. So China's, you know, the one-stop solution offer at the moment is very well advanced in the game. And then also the digitization in the value chain, the automation level, and all these potential advanced analytics that can help you to understand the full capacity of the value chain, or also other services like virtual prototyping, approving samples through video conferences. You know, all these things, they are already on the agenda and being practiced by Chinese brands. So this is something that a lot of sourcing executives and foreign brands will need to understand, how that will facilitate the whole process to achieve a win-win situation. So as I mentioned before, I work with a lot of show organizers in Asia and Europe. One of the important values for show organizer these days is about the matchmaking. So again, for example, if today you want to work with some Chinese brands, it's much better for you to come to platform like Tactful. Why? Because Massive France in the last 20 years has been growing their relationship with some of the best Chinese partners. They work with CCPIT Tax, they work with different opinion leaders in the industry. Just like now, you see how much sustainable development is going on. So when you come to a show, when you use the platform, like Jonas showed you the digital offer, make sure you always pay attention on the selection. Because when a responsible show organizer introduces their exhibitors, it's not about just waiting for the exhibitors or brands to come to them. They actually go into the market, like working with the local partners. So they set a standard for all the people who have this capability to come along, offering solutions. And then also coming to a show is the best way to get your market intelligence. No matter you are a brand or you are buyers, you know what's going on in the market. And then all these exchanges, now we are starting again, are most valuable. So to sum up my conversation, it's just we need to pay attention on every single process. All the stakeholders in the fashion industry can do something, and we hope we can build a very clear path for sustainability and feasibility very soon. Thank you.
Many thanks, Regina, for the very clear presentation and positive presentation. And now I'm happy to introduce Fiona.
Hello, good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here to share a few thoughts with you from my past experience. After 20 years of working in fashion and textile industry, I observed quite a lot of change after the pandemic. So we'll go through different aspects, and I'll put up a presentation with you, and we'll go through different points together. So during the presentation, we'll go through the current situation of apparel and Chinese apparel and textile production, just quickly, and how the pandemic have impacted the world retail business, also very quickly, and how does the situation, the retailers react to the pandemic. And for in additional, we will go have a look at the suppliers and retail relations, especially with Chinese suppliers, how we can actually, the implication on this relation, and afterwards, how the Chinese supplier could deal with the current situation. Finally, the outlook in the future. As we all know that fashion product has a very short life cycle. Also, it has a very high volatility in its demand. There's very strong impulse buying from the consumer, so the predictability of the sales is quite low, as we have to develop product 1 year or 2 years in advance before the product going to the market. And so currently, China is a dominant player in garment production, which shares 30.8% of worldwide garment export. But at the same time, we observe that the China garment export is on what their share on total merchandise export is in decline, because the high-tech industry from China is becoming more mature, and more product from high-tech industry is exported to the world. So at the same time, we observe a change on China apparel supply chain also. There's a change of demographic, less young people is going into the business, and there's a rising labor cost on the market. But at the same time, there's also a rising cost of raw material, land, and also energy cost. We also observe that there's the unstable trade relations between China and US have made the trading condition very unstable also. So that drives production into the neighboring Asian countries, actually. And this trend has started from 2012 already, and very often with the investment from Chinese entrepreneurs. And the impact of pandemic on global retail business, as we all know that this is such an unprecedented event. And according to Forest Research in April 2020, global retail sales has recorded a $2.1 billion loss. And we also observe that because of the confinement, consumers increasingly use social media, that they are much more influenced by social media nowadays. And a lot of apparel purchase has been moved online also because of the close of the physical shop. There's another consumer trend that we observe. There's a growing support of the ethic from the Generation Z and consumers in general towards ethical brands. And the acceleration to sustainable product and production process is accelerating. And consumers, they look for different products which can adapt to their specific lifestyles also. And in addition, consumers are becoming more sustainable. They want to buy less, but taking better care of their clothing. So these are all the different observations we see following the pandemic, and also based on investigation from McKinsey company, based on their interview with top 30 leading European apparel players, we noticed actually 2 of the most important 6 strategies they employed following the pandemic are related to supply chain. So short term, they try to control in short term, they try to reduce their order size and the frequency of ordering to be closely reflecting the actual sales figures. But actually in long term, the China Plus strategy, which I mentioned before, that moving production from Chinese supply base to neighboring Asian country, they try to continue this sourcing strategy in order to take advantage of the cost advantage from Asian neighboring country. And also there's a nearshoring and onshoring process, which means that a European retailer is trying to source from area closer to their to Europe, like Morocco, Tunisia, or even trying to establish their own production base in Europe. This will increase the speed, agility, and transparency, while reduce the inventory risk and transport costs for these retailers. And also, they will become more sustainable, of course, by reducing the waste of unsellable stock and reduce their carbon footprint by shortening the transport. For example, German retailers like CNA or French retailers, retail group Fashion Coop, they have all recently established their production base in the country. And also, EU community also is funding this Switch Med program, which is trying to stimulate and improve the production quality and stimulate export from Morocco, Tunisia, these Northern African countries. So what this means for Chinese suppliers and how should we deal with it, actually? Chinese suppliers, you know, after all this change on the market, European retailers, you can observe very clearly there's a change of the criteria in selecting suppliers. Sustainability becomes such an important attribute for them to make selection. So as a supplier, you will have to, market demand, you know, try to have more sustainable products, being in recycled fiber, recycled cotton, recycled polyester, or to try to explore new type of natural fiber, hemp, kapot, even orange peel, bamboo, you know, and also try to be more sustainable in your processing, reduction of chemical using in dyeing, finishing, or wet processing of garment, reduction of water usage, have used more renewable energy, and also the social and environmental compliance also is more important. So not only you have to do this, but you have to communicate very well, you know, not only just about your company, but also communicate on your product. And that's something that I think a lot of Chinese suppliers are not putting efforts in. All this, we can see that there's the need of product traceability and the information transparency. This will give rise to more vertically integrated textile or garment suppliers. And this we have observed in many other suppliers in Pakistan or Bangladesh already. So Chinese supplier, you will also will see that this will also go into that direction. And a long-term partner is becoming more and more important than ever, because switching partners will be much more costly to be able to establish the product traceability and to investigate their sustainability operation. Apart from all what we talk about sustainability becoming very important for Chinese supplier to communicate. There's another aspect, you know, operational professionalism and technical advancement is very, very important, more than ever than before, as a lot of communication and cooperation is moving online, actually. For example, 3D design, virtual showroom, or collaborative design process in order to get the design process quicker. For example, digital color approval, 3D fitting, and these are all these kind of facilities from suppliers are very important. Also, a system which provides, so a product information system with accurate and instant available information will help retailers to make a lot of decisions very quickly. And also capability of the staff of supplier to be able to collaborate, communicate efficiently. This also is more important than before, because a lot of communication has to be online, and lack of face-to-face communication is make it more demanding for our communication skill. As more online brands, they have to pass smaller batch of order. So as a Chinese supplier, we have to be able to switch between smaller batch of production, but at the same time to be able to be maintain the consistency of quality management of the product and also the production process. And we also observe that actually as a Chinese supplier, there will be, even as a specialized niche player, you'll be much more viable through the reach of internet. Nowadays, you'll be able to reach sufficient supply buyers, even if you are playing a very small niche player or producing for a specialized product. So how does the Chinese supplier be able to cope with this situation? Nowadays, I think we should focus more on high value added products to differentiate yourself and specialize yourself. And also we need to focus on creating more intangible value, the branding, the design aspect of the product, and also have a better collection planning to be able to differentiate Chinese supplier than the other Asian countries who is only purely focused on production. And also we should try to take advantage of the rise of the F2C channel, which means the actually fashion factory to consumer, to eliminate their channels in between and to reduce the costs. There are many channels and some of the Chinese suppliers are already doing that, you know, through Amazon, AliExpress, or even bot.com and different internet channels locally to different European countries. And also just another aspect which is quite important is actually because of the rise of the internet, a lot of collaboration can be done. You should be able to tap into a network of individual professionals who have specific expertise either in sales and marketing or branding, like previous speaker, Regina, or in other area, for example, somebody who understands the local taste of the social media. these are all some these different aspects that Chinese suppliers should be able to take advantage. So I have to say that actually, of course, we are going through this unprecedented pandemic, but the pandemic have merely just accelerated the preemptive change in the industry. And a lot of trend has been going on already before the pandemic, you know, and from our small questionnaire that we have been conducted in the showroom fair, which is Tactful actually. A lot of buyer mentioned that the online meeting or the digital fair, you could never replace the physical contact, because in the garment industry, the physical contact and the touch of the product, the drape, you know, the thickness of the fabric, these are all so important to determine what we buy actually. So as Chinese supplier, so when we talk about supplier here, it could be manufacturer, it can be trader, it can be the private label maker, or even brands who have to distribute their product in European through European retailers. For all of us, the raison d'être of a company, the only value for the company is to be able to satisfy the need of your customers. So we will have to find our way to be able to take advantage, to find our niche, to be able to come out from the other end and merge to be triumphantly going through this situation. So I hope that we all will be successful during this process, and we'll come back and find a new kind of normal soon. So thank you very much, everyone, and I wish you all the best.
Many thanks, Fiona. So this webinar shows us that sustainable development is a common challenge that is taken very seriously by Chinese brands, which is a very good thing for all of us, as they represent more than 30% of the exportation. So Chinese textile industry program to meet with the SDGs while improving their competitiveness is very ambitious, but we all know that China is able to move very fast. So now I invite you to ask your question. For the moment, we don't have any questions, so you can ask your question to Regina and Fiona. And otherwise, you will be able to, for those who have joined the webinar, in the middle, for instance, you can watch the replay later. Okay, so we have a very interesting question. The experience of Japan brands can be regarded as a major success of branding of local products and services in Europe, where the role of creativity in branding play an important role. What are the Chinese brand potential assets to succeed? Maybe Regina, you can answer this question.
Thank you, Alice. So yes, I used to also work with some Japanese brands, especially on the design. So what I find very touching is, you know, Japanese brands, they know their values very well. When I say values, meaning what they want to offer to the market, to the world, they have a vision. So I guess creativity comes from these values. If creativity only means aesthetics, styles, it wouldn't last. But when it comes with values, vision, plus your skill set, that could be very powerful. And that's what we saw with the Japanese brands. With the Chinese brands, it's a different timing now. So I don't think the Chinese brands need to follow others people's examples, because now Chinese brands have their own skill sets. They have a very strong internal market that they can practice. In a way, we say try and error. You know, they know how to go through a process that no other countries could do it before. So with that experience, Chinese brands need to ask themselves, so what does creativity mean to them? What are their values? And like Fiona said, even though you have values, it's not enough. You need to tell people. So what are your stories? I guess that will be just a few key elements that Chinese brands really need to focus and also communicate.
So would the Chinese brands work with European brands as a private label?
Definitely. I think Chinese brands, when we talk about brand, actually, there's quite, it's quite vague, I feel, you know. Very often, because in China, the advantage of Chinese textile and apparel industry is it has a very complete supply chain, which make that there's some very big suppliers. They have from A to Z, which means they're from production to their own brands on the market, actually take advantage of their own production base and lower production costs. So there will be brands in China where they are also manufacturers. So they can easily launch their own collection as brand, but actually they can also work with European brands as private label, actually supplying for them. So I definitely see that there's definitely opportunity there, and but it's really have to, I think, to make this kind of collaboration work. It's very important that European brands need to find the right partners, try to understand, because China business world is also quite complex, you know, and to be able to understand what the company is actually, the Chinese company is actually how they operate, to understand the Chinese culture, all this, I think it's much easier if a European brand can work with specialists in this field and to actually help them to work with Chinese brands or suppliers. Or the Chinese mentality, it's much important, the soft side of the business, I think, to be able to work well with Chinese.
Okay, one last question from Moller Thoma. How to find the right partners? What are the things we need to look for and how to find them? Maybe Jonas or Fiona again, or Regina can answer the question.
Yes, okay, so maybe I will just quickly jump in. As I said before, now we have this very, very nice platform called Tactful. So first of all, don't underestimate the resources and networking. This platform already built for everyone. So if you want to look for some Chinese partners to consider a possible project, this is the place you first to look at. And then what do you need? I think, you know, from my experience, Chinese people are very pragmatic and efficient. So I think you just need to think what you really want to achieve. You are not here to just find manufacturer, because there are Chinese brands who can offer more than that. So can you create something really extraordinary? Just you just need to discuss. So that would be my answer.
From my experience, any kind of cooperation, or as Regina said, actually to look for candidates to cooperate together, a fair can be a very good opportunity. because you get to know many people. But after that, how to get to work with the right partner is very important. I think it's very important you understand yourself and what you can bring to the table, what you expect from the other partner. That is something that you have to be very clear yourself first. Maybe you're looking for production technique, very advanced production technique, or you're looking for somebody who knows the Chinese market very well, that you're hoping to cooperate and capture the potential from Chinese market also. So I would say to be able to find partners, it's easy from the fair, but to be able to work well, it's very important to understand yourself, understand what you expect from your partner, and having somebody who has been working in this industry for a really long time, and have somebody who understands the Chinese and European mentality to help you to find, to avoid mistake, to understand what is the best way, and to understand other parties' intention, actual intention. That is actually very important. That will help to avoid too much, how to say it, obstacles, and then, yeah, that's what I really believe, actually.
Okay, so it's now time to quit this event. So thank you for your presentations. We now have a better vision of Chinese fashion brand strategy to face global challenges. We still have questions, but we don't have additional time. So I'll try send your messages to the contact of Tactful Evolution Showroom, and we hope anyway to meet you soon during for the next event or for sourcing on ForSource platform. Thank you all. I hope you have enjoyed this webinar, and yeah, please share with us your question, remark, and suggestions for the next events. Goodbye.